What we're going to be discussing today is the man of sin deception. And before listening to this lesson, you should go ahead and check out my video titled Why Everything in the New Testament Should Be Tested with the Old. And that's basically going to give you some background information on why I'm talking about this subject matter today. And this lesson that I'm going to be teaching today is basically going to be the first of many lessons that's going to be showing deception in the New Testament. And what I found is that that we need to actually use the Old Testament as our foundation, or else you might end up believing and teaching things contrary to the spirit of the Most High, the spirit of the Israelites, and actually how the Israelites function under the commandments of the Most High. So now we're going to get into some of the texts that people try to use to say that there's going to be a third temple built in Jerusalem. We're going to go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1. It says, "Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Master Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or troubled, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand." So this is telling you not to be worried that what is written as the second coming of Christ is going to be happening soon, okay? So we can already get a time, a setting, a time period of when this is occurring, which would place at the end of time, the last days. Verse 3, "Let a man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." So first there has to be a falling away before that day comes, it says, and then the man of sin will be revealed. Now let's see what it says about this man of sin. Verse 4, "Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God." So the main point that I want to bring out in this scripture is that it says that he will be sitting in the temple of God. We already have the time period, which will place at the end of time. And this is basically one of the events that most Christians say is next in prophecy. But you have to understand that this is actually the time when the Israelites are still in captivity, according to the scriptures. And according to the scriptures, the Israelites will still be in captivity until the Most High comes and delivers us. So who is going to build this temple? You would have to believe that it would be those who have taken on the identity of Israel. Those would have to be the ones to build the temple. And remember, this is actually called the temple of God, or in Hebrew, Elohim. So what I'm going to show you now is that it's actually impossible for this to happen according to the scriptures. Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 1. 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 1. It says, "And it came to pass when the king sat in his house, and Ehud had given him rest round about from all his enemies, that the king said unto Nathan the prophet, See, now I dwell in a house of cedar, but the ark of Elohim dwells within curtains. And Nathan said to the king, Go, do all that is in thine heart, for Ehud is with thee. And it came to pass that night that the word of Ehud came unto Nathan, saying, Go and tell my servant David, Thus saith Ehud, Shalt thou build me an house for me to dwell in?" So David wants to build the Most High a temple. Let's see what the Most High's response is. Verse 12. It says, "And when thy days be fulfilled," this is the Most High talking about David. It says, "When thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever." So this tells you that the Most High didn't actually allow David to build him a temple. He's going to allow one of David's sons to build the temple of Elohim. Now, David was actually a man after the Most High's heart, but still was not allowed to build the temple of Elohim. So not just anyone can actually build a temple and call it the temple of Elohim. The Most High actually has to approve of it first. Now let's see who the Most High approved of in building this temple. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 5, verse 2. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 5, verse 2. And it says, "And Solomon sent to hear him, saying, Thou knowest how that David my father could not build an house into the name of Yahuwah's Elohim, for the wars which were about him on every side, until Yahuwah put them under the soles of his feet. But now Yahuwah my Elohim hath given me rest on every side, so that there is neither adversary nor evil occurring." So we obviously can see that the Most High didn't allow David to build a temple for him. Verse 5, "And behold, I purpose to build a house into the name of Yahuwah my Elohim, as Yahuwah spake unto David my father, saying, Thy son, whom I will set upon thy throne in thy room, he shall build an house unto my name." So now, just like his father David, Solomon wants to build a temple for the Most High. Now let's see how the Most High responded to Solomon building a temple. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 10. 1 Kings 8, verse 10. And it says, "And it came to pass when the priests were come out of the holy place that the cloud filled the house of Yahuwah, so that the priests could not stand to minister because of the cloud, for the glory of Yahuwah had filled the house of Yahuwah." So one thing you see here at the end is that it says, it actually calls it the house of Yahuwah. Now, you can see that a supernatural event is actually taking place here, because it says the glory of Yahuwah filled the house, which tells you that the Most High approves of Solomon building the temple. This is how the Most High responded to Solomon building it. And let's continue on and see, even more so how the Most High responded to this temple being built. We're going to go to 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 1. And it says, "And it came to pass when the priests were come out of the holy place that the cloud filled the house of Yahuwah, so that the priests could not stand to minister because of the cloud, for the glory of Yahuwah had filled the house of Yahuwah." So, since the glory of Yahuwah filled the house, the Most High actually approves of this temple being built. Let's go to verse 12. "Then spake Solomon, Yahuwah said that he would dwell in the thick darkness. I have surely built thee an house to dwell in, a settled place for thee to abide in forever." The Most High is actually, this is a place for him to abide in, it says. The Most High is not going to abide in any temple. He has to approve of it being built first. So since his glory actually filled this temple, you can see that he actually approved of Solomon building him a temple. And let's continue and see even more so how the Most High actually approved of Solomon building this temple. Let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 1. 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 1. It says, "Now when Solomon had made an end of praying, the fire came down from heaven and consumed the burnt offering and the sacrifices, and the glory of Yahuwah filled the house." So not only did the glory of Yahuwah fill the house, but another, supernatural event took place where fire actually came down from heaven and consumed the burnt offering and sacrifices. The Most High is not just going to have supernatural events take place like this, with any temple that's built just by any random person. Okay, it has to be a temple that he established for himself. We're going to skip down to verse 12. It says, "And Yahuwah appeared to Solomon by night and said unto him, I have heard thy prayer, and have chosen this place for an house of sacrifice." So Yahuwah actually appeared to Solomon and told him that he chose that place, that temple, to be a temple of sacrifice. Okay, he approves of this temple being built. Let's go to verse 16. "For now have I chosen and sanctified this house, that my name may be there forever, and mine eyes and mine heart shall be there perpetually." So he even sanctified this house, or made it holy. So this temple is actually a holy temple. Anybody who's just coming out and building a temple, if somebody builds a temple, doesn't necessarily mean that it's holy. There's been lots of temples that have been built. Okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the temple of Elohim. we can always see here that with the first temple, the Most High approved of it being built. But we're actually going to see how the Most High approved of the second temple being built. Let's go to Haggai chapter 2. Haggai chapter 2. And we're going to go to verse 1. Haggai chapter 2, verse 1. It says, in the 7th month, in the 120th day of the month, came the word of Yahuwah by the prophet Haggai, saying, Speak now to Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel, governor of Judah, and to Joshua the son of Jehozadak the high priest, and to the residue of the people, saying, Who is left among you that saw this house in the first glory? And how do you see it now? Is it not in your eyes in comparison of it as nothing? Yet now be strong, O Zerubbabel, saith Yahuwah, and be strong, O Joshua, son of Jozadak the high priest, and be strong, all you people of the land, saith Yahuwah, and work, for I am with you, saith Yahuwah of hosts. So Yahuwah is actually encouraging them to build this house. He wants them to finish it. So since he's actually encouraging them to build the house, he approves of it being built. He's telling them to work. He's saying that he is with them. So obviously he approves of this temple being built. Verse 5. According to the word that I covenanted with you when ye came out of Egypt, so my spirit remaineth among you. Fear ye not. He's telling them not to fear. He's telling them to build the temple. Verse 6. For thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, yet once it is a little while, and I will shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry land, and I will shake all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come. And I will fill this house with glory, saith Yahuwah of hosts. So the Most High is also going to fill this house with glory. This temple, he's going to fill that temple with glory. So if he fills it with glory, obviously he approves this temple being built. So as you can see here, with the first and second temple, the Most High actually, approved of those being built. He established those to be the temple, for himself. He sanctified those temples. So basically you can see that in order for there to actually be a temple of Elohim, he has to approve of it being built first. And when you go to 2 Thessalonians, that's not going to happen with the third temple being built. Okay? Because this is the time period when the Israelites are still going to be in captivity, obviously. And the people who would be the ones building the temple would have to be actually the ones who have taken our identity, which is actually the Gentiles. And the Most High is not going to sanctify a temple that's built by people who've taken on our identity. So as you can see, that's actually clear deception in the New Testament. And what this does is get people to look for things in the future that's not going to happen. Okay, there's not going to be a temple of Elohim that the Gentiles are going to oversee and build. The Israelites actually have to be the ones to oversee and build the temple. Now, there is a possibility of, a temple being built or something like that. But it won't mean anything because it won't be the temple of Elohim. Shalom.